this new world order. So joining us is Gerald Celente. Gerald, thanks for coming on short notice.
Always my pleasure, Alex.
Well, break it down for us. You, for the last 2-3 years, have been really with stunning accuracy chronicling exactly what was going to unfold. You've predicted by the end of 2010 that they won't be able to deny that we are in a full-blown depression for the last 2 years, and they've been covering it up. Now, all the economic data is coming out, just piling onto your predictions. So go over your past prediction and then tell us currently where we're at and any tweaking on your forecast of where we're going.
Well, in 2004, actually, we wrote in the Trends Journal, and it's on our website, trendsjournal.com, that by the end of 2007, we'd enter, quote, the Great Recession. In 2007, we warned, we even took the domain name out, and it was one of our top trends for 2008, the panic of '08. Then we forecast in '08 the collapse of '09. The markets collapsed in March of '09. And the only thing that they did was to pump them up with bailout and stimulus money worldwide. China, all of Europe, the UK, Australia, Japan, South Korea, you name the company, that's the right word. I meant to say country, but company fits because that's the ones they're bailing out. The banks, the big companies, they flooded the world with stimulus money. The games ran out. The game ran out with the Greek crisis. So now what we have is the reality, and now as you mentioned, you're hearing people like Krugman. I call the New York Times, Alex, calls what I have to say pessimism porn. So therefore, Krugman, from the toilet paper of record, comes out 2 years too late and a couple of weeks behind, saying that, quote, he fears that we're going to enter into a depression. Fears? Oh, but if they listen to Krugman and company, they could get out of it because he says it's about policy. And the policy that he recommends is dump more money into the system, more stimulus, so that it's like you having a second mortgage. You can't pay it off. And I say, hey, listen, Alex, how about taking out a third mortgage so you could pile some more debt on top of it? So the game's run out. They're not going to throw any more stimulus into this. It is austerity. Austerity means, by the way, you take pay cuts and you pay higher taxes to bail out the banks. We're going into the greatest depression. However, they're also taking us on the path to war. And this is what we wrote when the bailouts began. When the bailout bubble bursts, when all else fails, they become emboldened by their failures and they take us to war. That's what we fear is next.
Gerald Celente is our guest. Gerald, we're now seeing Schwarzenegger make 200,000 employees of California take minimum wage. Some of these are 10, 20, 30-year employees who were making $20, $30 an hour. Now they're supposed to live on $6 an hour. We see Bloomberg reporting that 46 states are bankrupt or on the verge of going bankrupt. And the government's answer is raise federal and state taxes by record levels in modern history. And California did that 2 years ago, and lo and behold, their tax receipts went down. Kennedy cut taxes by 50%, tax receipts double. Government knows when you cut taxes, more money comes in because the economy speeds up and becomes more healthy. So then by this measurement, they know that the taxes increasing is going to further destroy the economy. What is the method to the madness?
Look who they are. As I mentioned, these are the people we used to go to high school and college with that wanted to become the class president and the head of the student council. They were suck-ups, brown-nosers, self-serving, ambitious jerks that most people didn't want to hang around with. They follow their career paths. They've been incompetents forever. Let's look at the facts. They have Katrina quality rescue skills. Hey, great job you're doing over there in the Gulf. How about fixing health care? No, I have it. Why not? Let's reform education. Let's start a war on drugs. Let's go bigger than that. Let's have wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. They're losers. Everything they touch, they turn to rot. They are incapable. And if you want to start cutting back, let's start cutting back on these jumbo jets that the secretaries of this and that ride around in. And every time they go and make a state visit, it's the same predictable scene. Here they are waving from the gangway to a crowd below of other dignitaries bowing and scraping when they roll out a red carpet and strike up the band. Who is kidding who with this stuff? They're robbing us blind. They're living like royalty. They're cutting back on everybody's salaries so the people at the top could keep the game going the same.
And it's coming to a head. I mean, when you realize they spend billions and billions a year just for Congress people to fly around on the equivalent of Air Force One type jets, and you're correct, it's in the news that even their aides and secretaries are flying on private jets. Meanwhile, I fly coach. I mean, this cannot continue. It just shows their Marie Antoinette attitude. And speaking of that, this article, dollar plunge after UN called to ditch greenback. The G20 meets. These 20 central bankers, most of them Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Goldman Sachs alumni. They've stolen trillions of dollars publicly. They engineered the Ponzi scheme, and $1.2 billion is spent on their security. That is almost the budget of Toronto every year in 3 days. I mean, just to show how unsustainable this is, how they want to bankrupt us. And the United Nations says that the dollar is going to be dead.